or net organizations participants, and we are very happy today to start this webinar. It means a lot for us, for WeGo and StreetNet, and I wanted just to quickly greet our speakers that are here with us today. So I would like to introduce you to Lucia Fernandez from WeGo, Oksana, our international coordinator of StreetNet. We have here, Federico Parra from WeGo. He will present our toolkit and speak about this process. And we also have the presence of Walteri Katajamaki from the ILO Co-op, and he will be here to speak about the importance of social solidarity economy in the world of work. And we have four very special guests for speak about their experiences on social and solidarity economy. We have Comrade Benga from Fiwon in Nigeria. We have Janet from Sintra SC Rwanda. We have Mirai Chatterjee, Sister Mirai from Sewa Cooperative Federation. And we have Comrade Guillermo Giraldo from UGTI Colombia. And they will bring their experiences. And we will then, after we will hear all these people, we will open a bit for questions and answers, and then we will speak a bit about what will be the way forward after this launch of our social and solidarity toolkit. So I would like to thank everyone to be here with us, and I would like to invite for introduction our international coordinator Oksana Bud to give you the greetings and to speak a bit about this process, how it was in StreetNet. So please, Oksana, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mayra. Hello, everyone. Hello, dear brothers, sisters, our dear speakers, guests. We are very happy to have this event today. It's very crucial for us. It's very important process, as Mayra mentioned, that we started. And actually, we started since quite a time ago when our members, our leaders during the Congress discussed and adopted the resolution on social solidarity economy, resolution number 19. So since that time, 2004, it was quite a process that we not only discussed, but thought how to make it more feasible for all of us to help affiliates, to help street vendors in securing their livelihoods through social solidarity economy process and mainly units. Then back to our last Congress, we also spoke about strengthening again this focus area of social solidarity economy with focus on the cooperatives. And in 2023, we already had our workshop in Brazil, where we discussed what exactly we want and how we want to move in implementation of our resolutions of StreetNet on promotion, social and solidarity economy. Of course, in cooperation with WeGo, Federico, thank you so much for all your support, but with ILO Co-op, kudos to Simele Sim, who also was involved very much in the process of assisting us, of guiding us, referring to already existing policies, as well as when we attended the ILO conference in 2023, and the resolution was also about social solidarity economy and strengthening this area. So we are all very grateful to all our supporters, our partners, our ally, and like-minded organizations who are helping in promotion, especially towards formalization process, because we believe social solidarity economy is one of the way not only to strengthen collective power of our affiliates, not only to give them access to policy influence, to securing livelihoods, but also it's a process to ensure fair and gradual formalization. How we see it in StreetNet, we have the whole position on formalization, and social solidarity economy is one of the area or tool to be used to formalize street and market vendors, because we are promoting formalization as well. I want to thank also our dear elected leaders, international council members especially, for also raising this topic in all platforms where we are discussing our internal issues, but also how we can move forward. So we developed the whole plan, how we want to do it, with focus on advocacy, of course, and by efforts of our internal resources, led by Myra, and also with Federico's support, we actually developed this great toolkit on social solidarity economies that we are very happy to introduce to you today, because we believe it's a very practical document. It's a very good guidance for all our affiliated organizations representing street and market vendors, how we can strengthen the capacity to set up social solidarity economy units with focus on cooperatives, and what to do and how to act and how to function, how to strengthen collective voice, collective power, but also organizing, how to sustain. So this is something very valuable and again, very realistic and practical, containing in this toolkit that we are very happy to introduce to you today. Thank you so much. I wish all of us a very fruitful event today, and of course, congratulations to StreetNet on this very important, very essential, first time ever developed toolkit on social solidarity economy, jointly with Vigo efforts through Federico. Thank you so much, Maya.
Thank you so much, Oksana. I think it's a great context of all the way we have been going through to form these nice instruments. I would like to invite Lucia Fernandez from the Organization Representation Program of WIGO. Please, Lucia, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. And we didn't discuss with Oksana about this, but I was hoping to do the same. So it's perfect, because I'm going to be not repeating, but just to make sense of what social solidarity economy has meant for us in WIGO, and particularly on the organization and representation program. So I was part of the advisory committee of ORP in my previous role, in my previous capacity with the Way Speakers. And Renana Ben, our SEWA comrade, she was the chair of the board many years ago. And Pat Horn was the international coordinator of StreetNet. And I do remember the two of them, which, if you know them, they are quite powerful ladies. And if they're in the same room, you cannot imagine how they are together. And they were again and again at every single ORP advisory committee pushing the boundaries of ORP and of WIGO as well, for us to integrate the social and solidarity economy and the cooperative movement into our approach. And it was only many years ago, thanks to Jane Barrett, when she was the director of ORP, that she managed to open this position of a social solidarity economy specialist. And it was great that Fede fulfilled. And now we are like 2-3 years after all of that change and change of leadership, change of people, we finally get SSE and cooperatives within a program in WIGO, and it's a pleasure for us that there is an organization such as StreetNet who has helped us push that boundary as well within WIGO to start this very important topic that it's also part of organizing. Organizing of informal workers in informal economy is not just about trade union or about representation in terms of politics. It's also the productive component that sometimes get a bit missed when we are, working internationally or working across sectors. But it's so important to factor the need for workers to sustain themselves through the work they are doing, in addition of being members of an MBO, of a cooperative and association. So in that sense, I congratulate Fede for his courage, his energy. He has been doing most of this by himself at Maida, and the support of the communications team from StreetNet and from WIGO. So it has been a collaborative effort, but a very courageous way of showing us what is possible and what is needed. And in that sense, something I'm going to be putting the bar even a bit higher, and Fede knows that I'm going to say that, is like my only positive and constructive critique to the materials that you're going to be seeing today is like, I feel that we need to start sooner than later intersecting the tools on social solidarity economy with what digitalization can offer. Means to think about saving credits and ways of organizing, but how we can incorporate digitalization as a tool to make the cooperative movement even stronger and more up to date to what the technology has offered to all of you. So I think I am already thinking about the phase 2, like the toolkit phase 2, and you are not still see the phase 1. But I just want to make that point because I think it's important for us to understand where the world is moving, and the importance for us to incorporate as much as possible digitalization on a positive note for the cooperatives of home-based workers, the cooperatives of waste pickers, the cooperatives of domestic workers, and the cooperatives of street vendors to shape and scale up in a way that digitalization, I think it's a possibility for us to scale up and connect the different self-help groups, associations, or cooperatives. So yes, so this is a recognition for Fede within my team, for the previous ORB director who brings Fede in, and of course for Pat and Renana when they were there and push us strongly to have SSC and COPS. So thankfully now Mirai is on board, and I think together we can commit ourselves and we go to continue support this very important topic. So thank you very much, and congratulations again.
Thank you so much, Lucia. I think you have given us a very good provocative question. I think I will pass on them to our speakers to always mind this digital approach and how they are already using it somehow through bank accounts and through other ways. But I think it's nice to ask them to, whenever they are explaining their experience, to bring this issue of the digitalization and how it is, about the reality today and how it matches with the experiences. And I really would like to just mention that I think when we see Oksana and Lucia speaking, that we have a very good example on how WIGO and Annette could really work together and really produce very important tools for, informal economy workers. So I think we have played a very materialized example on how we can build things together. So I think we are very happy about that. Was really a teamwork. WIGO and StreetNet, Federico and I, and then leaders, and then meetings and collecting examples and all this participatory process. So it's very nice to see all this process, and that's why we are so happy today. Well, I will not make you more curious, so I will just bring Federico Parra, social and solidarity economy expert of WIGO, to present to us what we have done. And so, Fede, the floor is yours.
Bien, voy en español.
Very well. I'm going to speak in Spanish. We're going to have an intervention in Spanish. Before anything, thanking very much, like Lucia was saying, we are within a stage where a lot of people intervened to make this possible. First, the team, my co-lead was Mayra, which, well, I mean, it's a pleasure to work with you, Mayra. The organizations, CITRESI, SEGUA, UGTI, UGTI. So we also have Carlos Caista from UCOMTAE. He has also a credit economy solidarity system, Oksana Margadida, the whole team, communication, WIGO, and among others. I'm pretty sure I'm missing someone. Well, first, thank also all of the participants, men and women in this. We want to put over the table a series of ingredients, or to propose all of you to create like a dish called solidarity solidarity dish. Like I already mentioned, my colleagues before me, this too comes from a process through which StreetNet International is seeking to promote the appropriation and development, consolidation of values and principles, organizational ways of the economy solidarity. And I would like to also add to it a very important topic. Sorry, there's interruption there. There's a crossed audio, I'm sorry. Okay, I would also like, I'm not going to focus on the definition of SEE of the ILO, a colleague, she's going to help us define this. I just wanted to tell you that from the work that we've been developing in WIGO, we have identified 3 great fields where this economy has had a decisive impact. And we think that the toolkit is seeking to support in those 3 fields in different ways. The first one is the betterment for the productiveness and labor productiveness, generate or scalable economies and the load of work. Sorry, again, we have audios. Common funds, the productivity is better, cost of work will be reduced, and avoid intermediation, the betterment of the prices and or services. The second one has to do precisely with the access of social protection. The access to social protection, understood basically like health, elder age, child, and insurance and other fundamental services. So this solidarity economy has helped us by articulation with PPPs and communities. And the third one that we think is very important that we have is their political representation and advocacy. The entities of solidarity economy, they have had a key role in the dialogue with governments, in the private sector, with the citizenship, and with their peers. And this toolkit is seeking precisely to strengthen the organizations of street vendors and market vendors, but it's also open for waste pickers, domestic workers, and other sectors, so that they internally check how to consolidate practices of coordination, cooperation, and solidarity in these 3 fields that we were talking about for the betterment of their organizational, productive, and social lives. This toolkit is a modular group. We feel it continues growing, as Sofia said, with different tools by the resolution, by StreetNet's resolution mandate. We are going to introduce 2 instruments, one that speaks about the what and another one that speaks about the how. The first one, it's a committee that gathers in an easy way, direct the situation, the problematic situations that every day they live, the workers, the street vendors, market vendors. Above anything, the strategies solidarity that diverse organizations affiliated to StreetNet have developed to be able to face them. With the support of Morpho and the communication populars that were around this process, we're going to present to you all an animated version of the comic. It's less than 5 minutes, where they speak a little bit, and it's sort of like mouth opening so that you guys motivate. You check this comic, each and every one of these situations, the possible usages. Why is it important to link work, resources, and coordinate efforts of representation? The second tool is extremely important. It's based on the experience of several organizations of workers in the world, many of them affiliated to StreetNet. They realized something fundamental. Even though we don't have access to the financial or banks or state financial aid, they have a very important thing. They have a lot of members, they share needs, and they have the capacity of gathering resources, work, and coordinate inputs in a transparent way. And this is how it's born in multiple solidarity. I don't know, the mingas, the natilleras, the donuts, lots of ways like the tontine in Africa, the Francophone Africa, and many others. These community ways, they exist in different regions in the world, and they have allowed to solve individual problems and collective problems through the linkages of resources. An example to show you all, in a recent study done between 2018 and 20, the Friedrich Herbert Foundation with the ILO and the development, the GIZ, they had some surveys about formal economy, and they were 10,800 homes in sub-Saharan Africa, Benin, Ethiopia, Kenya, Senegal, and Zambia. And they established that more than 50% of the average workers were organized, even working on the formal and informal economy. You cannot imagine the proportion of workers, even women, organized in systems of saving as solidarity. In some countries, it was more than 70%. So this guide that we are going to share, that we are going to copy in the chat, presents a simple step-by-step and pedagogic that allows you all as an organization to choose and decide if you do the step to consolidate a system of savings and credits. Many of you all have it already. That's why I say consolidate, or the rest can make it. Self-regulation capacity, appropriating solidarity principles with concrete and immediate timing. But we have to give you all a warning. The guide offers the ingredients and it offers a recipe, but this dish has to be prepared by each organization, adapted. We all from StreetNet and from WeGo, I'm sorry, we have the disposition to collaborate. We have organizations that will be introduced. Once I finish, they are going to show you precisely how has it worked, but it's a dish, again, that is cooked in a very specific manner. I also want to tell you all that the Bank of Sewa and Sewa in general was one of the biggest identities that inspired us, because they were talking about the financial sustenance, or like a fundamental self-sustainable. And that's why we think this toolkit, it's a homage to them. Let me present the mouth watery or mouth opening. This is a small video, a very short one. It will take you to see this comic. Allow me 1 minute, 1 minute, please. It has subtitles. Let's also ask the support from the interpreters. was having a very good day for sales, but the cops arrived. As it happened, because it happened to me, they just threw me away, or they just took my stuff. I couldn't even go to the doctor or even credits with banks, but this has changed. I want to tell you that my colleagues and I did to improve our conditions so that you and your colleagues can also do it. After the cops confiscated my merchandise, we decided how to defend my work. We saw that there were workers selling in the streets like me, but they were organized. So I assisted to the organizations to know more. I got a lot of information, valuable one, but they mentioned something that would change everything. The solidarity and social economy, which happens to be people like you and I that sells in the street and also in markets. We have to organize ourselves, cooperate, and help each other to organize. I knew there was a lot of people with problems and seeking for solutions. And this is how I found my first struggle companions. Luz, Joaquin, she would sell clothes in the streets, and Marta and her family, they have small cleaning supplies in the markets. We gathered and we talked about this economy, solidarity, and social. This is how we applied it. Joaquin helped Martha every day with his stand. When it was necessary, the daughter of Martha took care of the other baby. So we started practicing on what we were saying with our known people, that is to say, other workers in the streets, and we invited them to join. Suddenly, we were so many that we achieved our first assembly, where we decided to save conjointly so that we could face the challenges of our work. Of course, there was a lot of questions, but Joaquin, Luz, Martha, and me, we already knew that it was possible because we were already doing or making it a reality. Martha motivated everyone to trust, and it was true. We could not help anyone else to help us. We had to do it ourselves and help each other. So we did our first rulings, our first constitution. We agreed that I was be the representative of the one season. So we supported in everything so that we saved group as a group. We gave IDs to every member. We created communication. We heard proposals for the needs and concerns about everyone. So we had our first work plan that established what we were going to do with the collective money saved by our group. Some of these actions contemplated the fact that the vendors with the same merchandise will buy big or in bulk, so that it was cheaper. The ones who had transportation, they would have a fair remuneration, so that they collectively gather the merchandise. And others will agree with the authorities, a daycare center, and several other workers. They organized for a warehouse with bathroom and running water, clean water. The cops, when they wanted to intimidate or something like that, we would demand it in an organized way, the respect of our rights as our safety when selling. The more we achieved, more people wanted to join, and we gave them the warm welcome. With the voluntary cooperation of all men and women, we opened our first savings and credit systems. With this system, Joaquin could take her mother sick to the doctor. Martha and her family, they improved the variety of products and they sold better. Luz attends our community dining room. She bought a sewing machine to less time and less effort, and thanks to that, she has had better money and she was able to buy stuff for the kid. Soon the elections will be and Martha is a favorite. We are not alone. There's a lot more organizations everywhere in the world. Great inspiration for all of us is SEWA in India, a union made up of 2 million of self-employed women, independent. With goodwill and trust, they created these cooperatives, daycare centers, and even their own bank. We also have UTEP in Argentina, where the workers, men and women of the popular economy, they join together to create their own community kitchen. Afterwards, they had a cooperative, and Figu in Nigeria, where the vendors have saved money and they made loans among themselves, and they managed to collectively contract a health insurance for all of their members. We are informed, we know our rights, and we support each other in situations of injustice, illness, or economic hardship. Together, we are very strong. So let's get to work. Let's draw a new path towards more dignified life, developing social solidarity economy experiences with the organization, trust and disposition, because nothing for us without us.
Vale, muchas gracias. Entonces,
Thank you very much. I'm going to paste the toolkit link in the chat. Mayra, go ahead, please.
Thank you so much, Fede. Well, happy you saw the animation video. And well, we are adding in the chat the link to the video and also for the materials. There is a resource page in our website where you can reach it, and it will be soon translated and done in all the other StreetNet languages. And well, now you could see well, a taste of the work we have done and the materials we have developed. And as Fede explained, this is the animation about the comic, and there is also a guide where it's more a guide step by step and conceptualizing everything, what is like more structured for being content that could guide leaders to develop something like that. And well, now I will bring I will give the floor to our representative of the ILO Cooperatives and Social Solidarity Economy Unit, Waltery Katajamaki. So please, Waltery, the floor is yours.
Muchas gracias, Mayra, y buenas tardes, buenos días, todos colegas. Yo también utilizaré la oportunidad de presentar en
I will
español,
also present in Spanish, if that's okay.
Muchísimas gracias a
Thank you very much, StreetNet and WeGo, for inviting us to this very important discussion. It's always a great pleasure to participate in these events. Also, I will transmit my greetings, warm greetings of our unit boss, to many of you know. Unfortunately, she was not able to come due to a very intense period that we are living here at the ILO. Congratulations, I commend because of this launch of this toolkit, that it will be fundamental to support workers, vendors, informal workers, and workers of the informal economy in general, the path towards a decent job. In these few minutes, I'm going to share some reflections from the cooperative unit of the ILO in how this economy contributes to the formalization and the betterment of the conditions of work, labor conditions in the informal economy, and how I see that this potential is being recognized every time a little bit more in the norms, in the resolutions of the ILO, which gives a more solid norm for the advancement in its practicality. You all know very well, in the worldwide scale, there's no, the informality is predominant. And as far as the ILO numbers, it's more than 2,000 million people that have obtained their ways or they survive with the informal economy. The women and people within vulnerable situations, they face the deepest problems. Lack of representation and rights, there's no security and money, work condition insecure, and lack or nil social protection, no protection. In terms of the norms of the ILO for the formalization, it integrates each time the considerations of the economy solidarity. The 204 recommendation that you all probably know about the transition to the formal economy from the informal. I'm sorry, there was an audio there. Nothing. Okay, let me move on. The recommendation 204, it recognizes the cooperatives and the other entities from the social solidarity economy as economic units of the informal sector, and this recommendation, gives what's the role of this within the formalization through the organization, representation, and access to services. The last conference from the statistics of work a couple of years ago, 2023, established a statistic basis to measure the informal work. And this year, many of you also participated in the international conference and the resolution over there about the informality, together with the document of the follow-up document, which was approved last week. By equality of gender, social dialogue, recognizing the diversity of paths and the complementary role that this economy can play in the amplifying of protections, strengthening of representativeness, and the betterment of the labor conditions. Through all of these different instruments from the ILO, it has a very consistent message and coherent. Formalization is a progressive process. It's a multidimensional process that will go beyond the registry. It includes better conditions of work, access to rights, economic solidarity, and voice. And here is where this economy uses or makes or creates a contribution in this sense. 2022, the resolution from the International Conference about the Decent Work and SS recognizes cooperatives, functions, associations, foundations, social enterprises, and self-help groups as entities from the social solidarity economy based on the cooperation, voluntary democracy, and primacy of the people above the capital. And this definition from the SS has been adopted later by the General Assembly of the UN, giving it even more strength. And with all of these resolutions from the ILO and the UN, it also affirms or reaffirms that the entities from the SS have helped the transition to the formality. And obviously, this is directly relevant to our peers that work in this economy. Basing in decades of experience in the ILO, in collaboration with colleagues like WeGo and StreetNet and others, we observed three main ways in which these entities of SS support these workers in the informal economy for the betterment of their work labor condition. First, the ESS strengthen the voice, the representation, and the power of negotiation. A lot of people in this informal economy operate in an informal way, independent, no registry, no channels, no ways or paths towards negotiation. The SSE supports an identity, an institutional identity. This allows the interaction with other authorities, locals, providers of service, and other key actors in the supply chains. Also, it allows so that the workers participate a little bit more in the processes of social dialogue. And like we know in many contexts, this is combined with the collaboration with unions, central unions, different workers' organizations, strengthening even more the voice of the people in these formal dialogue spaces, where they can have, an easier access through different organization of workers. Second one, SSE social solidarity economy, it widens the protection to the services, essential services. Like we know, in many cases, the workers in this economy, they lack access to contributive regimens and basic services. So these different entities, like the mutuals, the cooperatives, community organizations, they can help to reduce barriers, cost barriers, reduce risks and access to basic services or national schemes of social protection. Third, the SSE betters the economic security and betters the communication, because it's also very important. The structures of the SSE gives stability for whoever have their means exposed, like in the streets, on the more on the precarious side. Shared services, commercialization, conjoint, and support to the continuity. They contribute to maintain the activities. They strengthen the productivity and avoid going down to the informality. Allow me to say that there are some aspects very important, that even the SSE as such is generating the solutions or is creating the solutions, its contribution in many cases, in many ways, it depends on context, environment, that has to be, this is where the ILO and the current resolution of the UN, they call to the states, they have to recognize the entities of the SSE within the legislation and the different policies to support through simplification of procedures. They guarantee a fair competency, a very key aspect. And I understand that this toolkit is also helping and also support the processes for opening the social dialogue processes to open to the entities of the workers in the SSE. Only through these means and policies, it allows that the social solidarity economy supports in an effective manner the transition towards the formality. To conclude, like I mentioned first, the social solidarity economy is not a system, a parallel system. It's a group of participative and solidarity factors that contribute to strengthen the voice, the betterment of work conditions, and to strengthen the economic security of the workers in the informal economy in their path towards the formalization. In this role, like we've seen these last minutes, it's now clearly recognized, sorry, we have some audio, as a global instrument. And just to finish, our unit of cooperative SSE from the ILO, we have the disposition to continue with the collaboration with StreetNet, with WeGo, with other actors of this economy. Importantly, also at the country level, we are present where we have presence through our offices in several countries, so that together we can get ahead in this agenda. So much important. Thank you very much for your attention. I'm waiting eagerly the discussion, especially the discussion of the different regions that we're going to be listening to. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Walter. It's so good to count on this very important partnership with the ILO Co-op, and we have learned so much, and always having CML's advice and suggestions, recommendations. This has guided us all the way, and we are very happy to know that we can keep this partnership. And well, we hope that all the changes that you are facing really keep the most important, so we could carry on the work. And we hope to be together in this journey for sure. Well, now we come to the part where we will bring the leaders of StreetNet affiliated organizations that have developed experiences on social and solidarity economy. And this is, as my colleagues Fede, Oksana, Lucia already mentioned, it was a long way to understand, to identify where the social and solidarity economy is applied by street vendors. Not only street vendors, but some, like in some examples, like informal economy workers as all the sectors, but in some examples, street vendors. So we wanted to showcase this, to see how the social and solidarity economy experiences were developed by street and market vendor organizations. So I will start by calling Comrade Benga Komolafe from F1 Nigeria to bring the experience of F1 and the cooperative they have developed there. So please, Comrade, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Let me first of all congratulate the StreetNet and WeGo for launching this important manual. I am very sure that it's going to be a most useful tool in scaling up efforts to build SSE units, particularly in sub-Saharan Africa, where perhaps we really need social solidarity efforts to survive very dire economic and social situations. We started our cooperative society in 2016 directly as a response to demand by our members for credit facilities. Many of them needed monies for their little businesses, but we were not in any position to offer any assistance. And then later, some of our members who have had experience with running cooperatives came up with the idea that we should be able to start a cooperative society to be able to respond to this demand for credits. So we registered a cooperative society and in 2016 and actually started operations in 2017. And initially we limited savings to meeting times, so on meeting days people saved. But later we discovered that this was not tenable because the meetings took place only once a month. And so people didn't actually have the opportunity to save as frequently as they would wish, because most street vendors, and it's interesting to note that it's the women, the women members, the female members of our organization that actually made this demand, this request. And most of them happen to be street vendors. And they earn their income on a daily basis. And this comes in trickles. So if we're going to have a savings scheme that will work, they have to have the opportunity to save as frequently as possible, daily or weekly at best, at worst. So we have to now devise some method of appointing local leaders in the various communities where we have our members. So in Lagos, where we started the cooperative, we mapped the states and were able to identify an initial 5 clusters or communities of mainly street vendors. And then we got the leaders to actually help with collecting the savings as frequently as they could. And this sort of worked. By 2019, just before COVID, we also got some little funding to digitalize our operations. So we created an electronic platform which enabled the local leaders to document the savings as soon as the savings were made. So people, members who saved could get an electronic alert of their savings. So that boosted confidence in the process because it allowed for instant feedback. And perhaps due to that and other spirited efforts to actually extend the service to as many communities as possible in Lagos, we had a lot of exponential growth in 2019. Unfortunately, 2020, we had the experience of COVID later on, and that was very challenging because almost all our members had to withdraw their savings to survive the lockdowns of that year. Then later on, we picked up after the pandemic eased and the lockdowns were also lifted. So we started all over again. We were able to get some resources from StreetNet, which we actually used to encourage those of our members who are no longer saving at all because their businesses had completely collapsed during the lockdowns. So we were able to get a good number of them to get back to business, and that really helped. Not so much because of the numbers that we were able to help, but so much because of the news traveled very fast that, F1 was able to help and all of that. So a lot of people actually came in. Later on, we also had radio programs to propagate what we do in F1, especially the cooperative services and so on and so forth. And so the numbers started to peak again. Basically, we encourage savings as much as possible. You cannot borrow until you have saved for a period of 6 months. So that allows for some pool of money to be accumulated. And then after 6 months, you could apply for credit if you wish. And that has worked quite well. Of course, the cooperative operations are generally regulated by government, and part of the provision guidelines from government is that we can't lend more than twice what has been saved to members. So if you saved 50,000, you can only borrow 100,000. Later, we discovered that this was. Hello? I hope you are hearing me.
Yes, we hear you well.
Right. So later, we discovered that a lot of times, some of our members could not really, what they could borrow was not quite sufficient sometimes for what they needed, especially during business upswings, especially the festive periods when sales spike up. Like in this period now, we are moving towards Christmas, and so there's a lot of requests for credits, much more, over and above the statutory provisions. And so we had to also come up with another service which sounds more like microfinance service. We are doing that in conjunction with a microfinance bank, which is owned by the Baptist Church. So because it's a faith-based organization, their terms are much more liberal than what the ordinary financial institutions would generally offer. So we are in partnership with them, so we're able to lend more money to more people and not necessarily just twice their savings. Sometimes it can be multiple of their savings, provided, of course, they have very good records with us, and also their cluster leaders can vouch for them and offer some guarantees. So apart from savings and credits, we have also, specifically since 2021, we started offering health insurance to all members of the cooperative society. So if you're a member of the society in Lagos, you are automatically enrolled for health insurance. So we simply get them to sign a mandate form, which empowers the cooperative to deduct the health insurance fees instrumentally from their savings. For many of them, it's not easy to pay the premium upfront all at once, but it's easy if the money is gradually deducted from their pool of savings. That has worked very well, and there's been a lot of testimonies of how the health insurance program has actually assisted a lot of vendors and other members who actually made use of it at very critical moments. Then we, in collaboration with GIZ, which is a German foundation, we also started equipment purchase. I mean, our members who wanted to buy new equipment could apply for loans, and they could pay back. Could apply for the equipment, they would buy in bulk at reduced rates, and then they could pay back instrumentally. That has also been very helpful for a lot of our members, especially young people who are just starting out in their business. So it helps them to procure the necessary equipment to start. We also have an asset acquisition scheme. Members are able to buy land where the cooperative actually buy the land and then sell to members in little plots. And quite a good number of them have started developing their plots. And a family has actually moved into their properties. We hope in the near future to see how we can leverage on existing government program on mortgage loans so that our members will be able to actually build on their land.
Excuse me, comrade, can I ask you please to start to wrap up because we are a bit over time?
Okay. Oh,
Thank
sorry. You. Well, I think I'm virtually through, actually. Those are just a rundown of the most important services we offer, except to mention also that a few more states have joined Lagos. The FCT, what we call the Federal Capital, which has the status of a state, has actually done very, very well this year. So many of them have also enrolled in the cooperative society. We also have it in Oyo State, as well, Kogi and Kwara states. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, Comrade Venga. It was amazing to have a vision of what was the experience of Q1. And I'm sure it's very inspiring for many of us. And I will then invite Comrade Mirai Chatterjee, Sister Mirai Chatterjee from Seva Cooperative Federation to give her presentation. Please, Mirai Ben, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Sister Myra, Brother Fede, and all sisters and brothers. I'll be quick because there's a lot to say, but I'm conscious of time. So I'll start with a very brief history. Actually, Seva Bank was born out of our trade union, the Self-Employed Women's Association. And that time, 50 years ago, most of our members were street vendors. So street vendors were very, very active in forming the cooperative. I think we can go back. Yeah. Forming the cooperative. But I wanted to stress that it very much grew out of the union. And it is when the street vendors, old clothes vendors, and vegetable vendors, fish vendors, and others said that they could not come out of poverty because they had to go to the money lender every day, borrow 100 rupees, and at the end of the day, return those 100 rupees and 10% interest per day. So they wanted credit, but also they wanted a safe haven for their savings because there was nowhere to put their savings in those days. I mean, it was long before the microfinance movement, remember. And at that time, the banks were nationalized and very disciplined. The mentor premise that street vendor, my mentor actually, Chanda Ben, said, "We are poor, but we are many." And then she and others went around, and that time Seva had only 4,000 union members. And they went door to door and they collected 10 rupees. And with 40,000 rupees, I think we can hold this for a minute. With 40,000 rupees, they started the bank. That itself is a long story, which we won't go into. So 40,000 share capital, and as you can see, and 4,000 women. And as you can see today, there's 132,000 women. And the share capital, it looks rather small in US dollars, but for us, it's a lot, 210 million. But the point I want to make is that Seva Bank and our SSC experience, our cooperative, Seva Bank was the first cooperative of the Seva movement, was born out of organizing and solidarity. And from day one, the plan was to make it financially viable and sustainable. So we've never taken any grants. It's all from members' monies. There's a democratically elected board. Of course, they're not only street vendors, there are many other informal workers elected to the board. And I'm proud to say that not only is the bank financially viable, but it consistently has been getting A grade in audits. We have a government system where they audit and they rank you. And that too, we are regulated by two regulators, the Reserve Bank of India, which is our federal bank, and the cooperative department. So it's sometimes quite a challenge, but we have managed. And as you can see, I'm not going to read out all these figures, but just want to point out one or two things. There are 360,000 loanees, but just as Brother Gmenga said, the idea is first you save. You don't just go straight into credit. First you save, and when you save for some time, usually a year, then also other vendors and other informal workers also recommend you. And then it goes to the loan committee, which is made up of informal workers, street vendors and others, and so on and so forth. And the interest rates are fixed by the board of directors. As I said, 80% or more are the informal workers themselves, all women workers, of course. It's only a women's bank. That's the other thing. And you can see that the loan amount is quite substantial, and we are also rather profitable, as you can see. But then, of course, the profits, or as in cooperative language, we say surplus, goes back to the shareholders as dividend. I also want to mention quickly that we have 13 branches now, but Seva Bank can only operate in our state of Gujarat. It's not a national bank. And we have 6 products, savings products, some pension products, some insurance products. I also want to mention, you might be interested to know that the loans are obviously for business, but also street vendors and other informal workers take housing loans, loans for phone, smartphone, loans for a vehicle like a two-wheeler, solar energy. And importantly, they also take loan on gold as collateral. As in many of our countries, gold is a form of savings, and actually Seva Bank pioneered the idea of gold loans. You take a loan on gold, and now, interestingly, that's national policy as well. Another thing we pioneered, because in those days our members were not literate, so it was all thumb impression, was putting a photograph. Otherwise, with all the thumb impressions, we won't know whose is whose. So the photograph on the bank account details, which is also, policy now of the government of India for everybody. Few other things I wanted to share. Yeah. So here we are. I think one of the things we've learned is how critical ownership is. It seems obvious, but many times our members had to defend the bank from all kinds of unscrupulous people who are trying to get in and say all sorts of things to the board of directors. In COVID also, all the women paid. Sometimes they were late, but they all paid. There have been some cooperative banks, unfortunately run by men, which have collapsed in our city. And even then, Seva Bank stayed firm. The women would come, they would take the savings out of their bank account and then count up the money and put it back in. But it was their own bank, and they say it's like my mother's home. Of course, I don't need to tell everybody that this leads to economic empowerment, because many of our members, came out of poverty. We have some of our members who've taken loans 10, 20, 30 times. We don't have the situation like brother mentioned in Nigeria. We can give as many loans as we want and amounts. Of course, they have to be able to pay back. I think what we also learned is that we need a bouquet of financial services, savings and credit being some of them, but also pension, insurance, financial literacy, and different type of loan products, like I mentioned, for solar energy and so on. Digitalization has been really important, and fortunately for India, the entire banking sector very early and quickly was digitized. We call it core banking, so our bank is also linked to the larger financial system. But many of our members now, are able to use digital tools, particularly our insurance cooperative, which is sister cooperative of Seva Bank. The entire insurance operation, enrolling people, selling the products, getting the claim into their bank account, all that is done via an app digitally. We think that it's very important to have tailor-made products. Often our governments make products without any consultation with workers, and those products don't sell. And then they wonder, oh, they didn't know there were no takers. Well, you never consulted, you never co-created. So they have to be appropriate, affordable, and importantly, they must be worker-led. Again, we don't have to convince all of you, but, we still have a hard time convincing our policymakers. And then I think really importantly for the Seva movement, we feel that Seva Bank has been the glue, because money speaks, as we all know, money talks, and it has helped us to bind together in solidarity and further organize. And also it has brought large numbers of informal workers into the Seva family, into the Seva movement, because it's a useful service. And finally, it served as an example for others, both within the Seva movement, because I told you the bank is only allowed to operate in the state of Gujarat. But as you know, Seva works in 17 other states. So savings and credit cooperatives have been opened up in many of the states, and plus others who are non-Seva, other civil society organizations, street vendors, and others. And it's also informed the government programs, as I mentioned. So I'll stop here because there's a lot more to say, but we want to hear from our other colleagues.
Thank you so much, Miraiben. It's a pleasure to have our biggest inspiration here in your person, the chairperson of Seva Cooperatives, and having from you in first hand all these explanations and the key things on how it happened and what are the lessons learned. So it's very, it's an honor to have you here. and I hope many of us will be inspired by it. So, well, I will then move to our next speaker. I will call Jeanette from StreetNet Rwanda to bring her experience about saving groups. It's very exciting as well. Please, Jeanette, comrade, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mayra. Thank you for getting the floor to present you our experience of StreetNet in organizing informal workers. I want to share my screen. Do you see my screen? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you for this launch of this meeting. So I want first to introduce our trade union. StreetNet is a national trade union of informal workers in Rwanda. It was founded on 23 February 2014 and got its registration on 6 November 2017. The reason of its creation, first one, was to create a platform for informal workers to have their voice heard, and also to advocate for policies that would address the challenges they face in Rwanda's informal economy. StreetNet has objectives. So I would like to introduce our trade union so people know who we are and what we do. Our common objectives is to organize and advocate, promote rights of informal economy workers to be recognized by national and international partners as a leading voice for informal workers, and also to empower the workers through organizing collective active action, training, and representation. StreetNet organize categories of members. We have market vendors and the street vendors. We have cross-border traders. We have domestic workers, traders, and small service providers. And you have also waste pickers. Those are categories we have in our trade union. You are seeing that we have a lot of people, different categories in the formal economy we are organizing. StreetNet has experience in creation of saving and credit groups, where we started by organizing village and saving groups in 2016. The objective was, first of all, to support working parents' access to child care service, to increase their financial resilience and economic independence, to encourage collective savings, solidarity, and business investment, and also to strengthen the women's participation in leadership and empowerment. So by thinking of starting this, they have some problems according to low capacity of members, that we were finding that was not possible to increase their business because they were not able to have access to loan from the banks or microfinancial. And also we create this to help them putting effort together so they may be able to raise their business and also to resolve the issues they have in their working place in their families. So StreetNet has over 9 members. 30% of members are organized in saving groups and the cooperatives. StreetNet is working in 18 districts in Rwanda. And also we have organizers. I started by telling you about the structure so you know how it works. We have organizers that organize all these people we have all these groups. One group have 30 people, and each group have 5 readers. We call them reading committee, and the group open account with 3 signatories, and the groups have internal rules and the guide, which is guide them. Saving groups meet every week, and the purpose is to save money and to give loans according the share they have and the capacity of each member. They have shares limit according to their internal regulations, and all these categories are represented in the Congress, which meet every 5 years. When we meet, we call them, so they have to represent their groups in the Congress as representatives. StreetNet has also the executive committee, which is responsible to adopt different policies and decisions that guide the organization. It goes through this way. When we were starting to create saving groups, it was adopted by the executive committee that we start this. It doesn't come in my mind or another person, but it was the decision for our committee for resolving all these issues I told you above. So these VSLAs show impact in our members, because we found that the income well improved, and they have also chance to have emergency funds that help them to resolve their issues. They reduced vulnerability of informal workers, especially women, and also increased access to childcare, education, and food security. It has also strengthened community solidarity, cooperative, and dignity. In the line of social protection, StreetNet supports access to national social protection systems, including mobilization. Through this way of VSLAs, or saving groups, we use this way to approach our members to mobilize and to encourage them to adhere the social protection schemes we have here in Rwanda. So we have chance also to implement the recommendation of 204 through this way, because we found that it is the way we organize people in the cooperatives, and they are recognized and they are known by the government. So through this way, you have chance that the Rwanda government has put in place many policies regarding looking for the formal workers, which was not in place before. So we have some recommendations after this, after showing the impact from the VSLAs, after showing that the business of our members were increased through this way of having loans, saving the little money they have, then they produce a lot. We recommend that StreetNet or other nets as requested to continue supporting cross-country learning and exchange among former workers in different ways of work, and through the project. Strengthen capacity building programs and negotiation leadership and the digital organizing. Advocate globally for stronger recognition of informal workers' rights. Support research and the documentation on innovative model like this. And also we strengthen people in this capacity of having the capacity to be in saving and loans associations. So we have a lot to share according to what we achieved, but I think we really don't have enough time to share. But I would like to say that this saving and the village associations in Rwanda helped a lot informal workers to be organized and also to be formalized and also to have access to financial money, and also they have also financial skills, because we train them how they can save money, how they can borrow money, how they can work together. So I conclude saying that this is really something that we can recommend to other people, to other associations, other nets, to use this way of social and solidarity economy through the way of having the saving groups in different category of informal workers. I thank you so much for your attention.
Thank you so much, Comrade Janet. Excuse me. Very nice to see Rwanda's example, and I see in the chat that we have comrades from the region already getting inspired. This is great. So our last speaker is from Colombia. It's from the Union of Informal Workers, UGTI. And so please, Guillermo Giraldo, comrade, compañero, the floor is yours.
Bueno, muy buenos días. Muchas gracias, Mayra.
Thank you very much, Mayra, and all of you. It's very motivating, all of these experiences, everything that has been shared so far. Here in the streets, a cigarette, a fruit, a mango. In this world, I've known in the informality world 45 years of my 55 that I have. So here we have worked with the vendors, informal vendors. How can we create better conditions of life, and how can we seek in the economic topics how to make it easy, alternatives to acquire credits or microcredits. I'm sorry, the audio is jumping. At the worldwide level, so it's very complex. On one end, on the other end, loans 20%. I'm sorry, the audio is cutting. But okay, here we've had several initiatives in the informal economy with credits, microcredits. An entity called Fomentamos. In 2003, they started with credits to less than 1%, 0.9, where we were joining groups of minimum of 12 people, where everyone will, respond for everyone. Do I explain myself? If I lean 300 to each and every one of the colleagues, members of this loan group, to have the bigger amount, everyone will be dependent, or responsible for the rest. Is the group together as such, and they would pay week by week a quota, not every day. Once a week we gather, and then there's trainings in different schemes, and well, this has given us great fruits. I have been very critical, but this, because it's still ongoing, I say hello to Federico. So very happy to be sharing with him in the organizational ways. We are seeking on how to also have not only credits, but find ways that people and another associates, or to have a common fund that maybe can, supply these lackings. If there's a colleague that didn't pay, we all have to pay for him, So as UGTI, what we did was the accompaniment and this to seek or to look for people, to motivate them, to help them so that they believe in each other and for them to also know about the needs of full commitment. We created a common fund. Also, on top of what we already have, the credit, the idea is that every week there's a raffle within the group so that we have a bigger amount, liquid amount, sort of like an insurance. We achieved to remove or just to survive to little problems that were presenting like everyday problems. You would receive a loan and some people would be left out or just anyway, so the group was being motivated somehow. The people would say it's more expensive, less than 1%. So we were able to, but sadly, the corporation didn't support us very much. And oh my God, I'm sorry. So see, so it's part of what we have achieved. To look through the organization, the one that connects or looks for all these people that from one way or another has the need of having a microcredit, and the majority of them, so they are not subjects to credits. So this corporation that I was mentioning reported people. But I reiterate, the group will respond for the group. We had very good big groups. The last one we had there, around 50 colleagues in just one group, and we managed to have savings, a significant one, 4 or 5 million Colombian pesos. We had little raffles. Let me tell you how we did it. Everyone gave 10,000 pesos. We were 30, and then among the 30 people that we were there, from 1 to 30, and half of it was for someone that earned it, and half of it was for the fund. So this was a way of managing. If now, by any chance, someone didn't pay, something else was also. I'm sorry, the audio is very bad. And now we have a second audio. This year in January, we had 170 partners saving, and we managed to have 120 million pesos. Topic is, this is too much. The stress is too much. The responsibility with this money is too much. So we are trying to liquidate this. So there's, but anyways, it's several experiences that we have been dealing with to see how to do mediation between the vendor and the organization, so that we can motivate or pressure the same government so that they can help us, and we look for credit alternatives and create solutions. Here, the theme or the topic is the risk. The Colombian law doesn't allow you to. The topic of credits and savings, even unless you have a big amount of money, so it limits the creation or the co-creation of cooperatives or even organizations to be able to just find solutions to the economic problems. We see people that have capitals to work 50,000 little pesos, 5 or 6 children, and rent anyways. So it's dramatic. The admin, I'm sorry, the audio is bad. Sometimes it's more the repression than the support that you can have. In this government of the change that we have right now, they have spoken a lot about support, loans, capital loans, etc. But many things. But when you arrive or when you get to the point to when you get to the banks, we find that there's a lot of limiting factors. You are already reported by this. So it's the same people anyways. There's not like a support for this vulnerable population. We have a ton of impossibilities or lack of possibilities. So we have tried to manage to find alternatives. We have always had lots of limitations. Many organizations and many other colleagues that unfortunately the credibility has gone down the drain because of them. This group of UGTI is working as a limited work, but we are trying to find how to co-create, how to do cooperatives, of how to build distributors of different products so that our colleagues can benefit from it. Okay, so I believe that with this tool that it's very motivating. Colleague Federico is training these workshops. It opens the mind, and in a way, it helps a lot to motivate our peers, our associates, affiliates, so that we actually can somehow work so that in the future maybe we have a bigger support somehow. We have a crossed audio. Look more spaces with the municipalities also, and I think for us, I'm sorry, there's another audio. There's no mute. Please mute the other audio. Anyways, the transition, but it has been motivating to belong to StreetNet. And all of these other allies, we go, and the experience is different. This opens the mind and gives us more capacities to be able to handle the day by day. And with the different administration, departments, national, maybe seek or find or be able to be somehow successful in the informality, which is not easy. So this is what I wanted to tell you, colleagues, comrades. Thank you for the space. Big hug to you all.
Thank you so much, dear comrade Guillermo. It was very nice to hear about Colombia experience. And I think you bring a very important issue. I mean, besides the experience that inspires everyone, about the issue of the enabling framework, legal framework for developing such initiatives. So this is very crucial. And I think every organization that that thinks about developing something, we have to know that sometimes it's challenging to have to make it official, to register, because many times the legal framework is not really enabling. It's more like poses challenges and difficulties, and this is something that we identified as something to address, to be really to assist our organizations to build capacity on this on how to overcome these challenges. And I will speak about that. I will just well, we are very close to the end, and we are already 1 hour and 43 minutes here, and it's a lot for our interpreters. So we will unfortunately have to cut the part of questions. But we, my comrade Federico and I, we commit to take your questions if you have a question for any of our speakers. And I will ask Federico to please write here in the chat your email and my email. So if you do have a question and you would like to have one of our speakers or us to respond to it, we commit to write to the person, get the answer, and get back to you. So please take note of these emails and write to us if you have a question. And I'm sorry for cutting this part, but time is really running. And well, then I will just make the final part of this webinar, where I will share with you what StreetNet and WeGo plan to do and what is our, well, it's more than clear how much we see important for us, for street and market vendors, to develop social and solidarity economy experiences. So I think from all the experiences and from the material we have developed, you can see that for us, developing social and solidarity economy experiences is very crucial as an organizing strategy. So this is very key. What it does, as many of us here spoke today, it's like it builds collectivity. So it's to build something that, as Mirai Ben said, is the glue for making a strong union of workers. When we are organizing informal economy workers, we know the challenge of mobilizing and recruiting and making the members stay in the organization, because they deal with so many vulnerabilities. Sometimes to go to a meeting and discuss collective issues, it's a challenge. If you didn't have the 3 meals, if you don't have where to live, so we have to address this somehow. It's somehow part of our representative organization's role to see this, to see that maybe we have to develop things that could increase the income, that could make life a bit better, improve street vendors' lives, besides pressuring for governments for rights. We have to do this for sure. Is the state responsible for ensuring labor rights for informal economy workers, but to create the strength, the collective force to press and get rights, we need strategies for organizing and improving vendors' lives. And this is very key. I think these experiences we bring is more than anything a strategy for organizing and to building this collective strength. And it's something that really helps, because when people really is involved in something that reflects in the quality of their life or in the assurance of their lives, this creates the bond to think about the collective issues, to think about fighting for rights. And that's why we are really promoting this as an organizational path. And it's something that many times we see that there is hesitation in dealing with money. And this is something that we have, of course, to be very cautious. But also, maybe all these experiences show us that we should maybe try something to save money together, to take this responsibility of creating some more dignified life, more access, more security. And then as a result, we'll have more union and more collective consciousness and bonds for really doing the union fight for rights with the state. So this is our learning, and we're very happy to see that we managed to do a participatory bottom-up approach to get where we are, to develop this material, and to really point to these pathways. this pathway on how to organize street and market vendors and how to improve their lives. So this is very much to be reflected as something that is our responsibility as representative organizations to experiment, to give the first step and start to develop things like that. So we hope this webinar really inspired all of you. And we hope to have you visiting our resource page in our website and downloading the materials. And also, we have plans for piloting this training, this toolkit in 2 countries this year. So WeGo and StreetNet will keep joining efforts to pilot something, and we will always look for means for reproducing this in many countries with many organizations, and see how the organizations can really build this capacity of developing social and solidarity economy experiences. And we understand that besides the training with this material, we needed to create some support system. And what we did, we decided to create an advisory group, social and solidarity economy advisory group, that will gather some experts of this. And experts, we mean ILOCOP, we hope to be there, RIPES, this network of social and solidarity economy, organizations that have been promoting the social and solidarity economy, but more than anything, to have leaders from organizations that have already had this experience. So they have the knowledge. And what is the role of this advisory group is to get questions. So if your organization will be developing something using our toolkit after some training or just autonomously, and you are, for example, stuck somewhere, you can write a question, ask help. And then what the advisory group will do, will get this question and try to connect with whom can help you. So it's about bridging experiences, because the best way sometimes is to do the peer-to-peer learning. So, for example, in Guatemala, there is an organization, or organization decides to develop something, and they are with some challenges with the legal framework. What the advisory group will do, we'll get this query, and then we'll contact another cooperative of Guatemala that some of the advisories participants can have, and connect them, because then they can learn from other workers in a cooperative in the informal economy sector. So this is the idea. It's not much, but it's to create this resource, this support system that can help to bridge experiences so that they can help each other to develop such experiences. So this is the way forward. The next year will be then piloting in 2 countries this material. We'll be launching this advisory group with these experts, and we will be getting questions and connecting experiences, so people can help each other, workers can help each other to go over all the challenges that can appear in such experiences. So I'm happy to share what is our next steps. And of course, we're already thinking about other steps, and digitalization came in the beginning from Lucia, and all the things that we could do together. I think we have to find a sustainability strategy for keep building capacity on this with our members, and we count with all of you for this. And just finalizing, I would like to thank you all for being here, everyone that was here. We had many participants, more than 80 participants. I would like to thank all the speakers that are here. And well, I hope we can be in touch, and please count on us when you're developing something like that, some experience in social and solidarity economy. Thanks to Fede, my partner in this big effort. And well, thanks to WeGo and StreetNet, ILOCOP, and all our members that are here, our organizations. We are very proud to be entering this chapter of social and solidarity economy practical steps. And well, I hope everyone took good inspiration of it. And that's it. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Gracias. Merci. Thank you.
Fantastic session.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Fantastic,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Gracias.